Hello and welcome to Odds on Serie A Matchday 37 and bonus track this week because we have the Coppa Italia Final. We have Leo Bachanian to analyze with us everything. Leo, title race, Napoli 1 point ahead of Inter, Champions League, Juventus and Lazio level on points, relegation, Venezia 1 point above Lecce and Empoli, and on top of that, another trophy, this time Bologna, Milan. Anything else?
Well, I think you recap everything, Edu, and the Serie A title race is amazing. The race for the Champions League is amazing too. The fight to avoid relegation to Serie B as well. So I think it's one of the finest seasons we have lately in Serie A. And on Wednesday night, yes, Coppa Italia at the Olimpico, a trophy for either Bologna or Milan. So this should be a nice show, to be honest.
Yes, well, let's analyze everything, guys. Leave your comments below, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And let's start with this Coppa Italia final on Wednesday at the Olimpico. As you mentioned, Bologna, Milan. The odds have switched, Leo. We had Bologna favorite some days ago, but now Milan is the favorite to lift the trophy. Odds are 2.6. Actually, it's also very important for both sides, since winning the trophy means direct qualification to the Europa League. And I have to highlight, Leo, we have to highlight that Milan lost the last two finals, Coppa Italia finals, 2016 and 2018. So the last trophy is in 2003. And Bologna is the opposite. They got to the final only twice, in 1970 and 1974, and both times they won the trophy. And we saw kind of a general essay last Friday with Milan-Bologna in Serie A.
Yes, and they say there is no two without three. Let's see what's going to happen for Bologna. And the last final for Milan, that was 2018, and they were thrashed 4-0 by Juventus. I think some things are going to change when we look at what happened on Friday and going into this final, because Rafa Leao, for instance, Edu, was suspended on Friday night, and he's going to play for sure from the start. Santi Jimenez, he scored a brace on Friday night coming from the bench, and for sure as well, he's going to be the starting 11 replacing 𝐬𝐭𝐴. We're going to see if Milan is going to leave it late again, if they're going to win from behind again. They like to do that with Sergio Conceição. Actually, those looking for Milan to win from behind, the odds are 11-1. I mean, I'm not going to go that route, though, but it's what is happening lately with Milan. They are winning and winning from behind, and that was the case on Friday. They were losing 1-0, second half, in 20 minutes, they were already winning 3-1. And I think they are rightly so the favorites, Edu, for this one, for the final of the Coppa Italia. I don't expect the goals over 2.5 as we had on Friday. Actually, I believe it's going to be a little bit more cagey, so goals under 2.5 could be a route for many people here. But my take, Edu, is Milan to win 2.6.
Well, really interesting, this Coppa Italia final after only 4 or 5 days after they met in Serie A, and we are going to analyze now Serie A, but also these teams, they are 7th and 8th, so they are still fighting for a spot in the top 6 in Serie A. Well, let me know in the comments, who are you backing, Bologna or Roma? Great season for Bologna. It would be, I think, the cherry on top of the cake for the Italianos men. For Milan, it would mean saving the season, because I think the Milan has been very disappointed with changing managers and a lot of problems in the dressing room. Well, Leo, we have only one game on Saturday in Serie A, Genoa Atalanta, because there is absolutely nothing on stake here. Atalanta, they will play Champions League football next season.
Yes.
After beating Roma. They secure the spot. Also, Retegui secured the top scorer, 24 goals this season. And Genoa was the big surprise of the weekend, getting a draw against Napoli with nothing to play, and they were winless, actually, in the previous 4 games before playing Napoli.
Yeah, and probably Patrick Vieira had the desire to give his former team Inter a hand in the title fight. And they came from behind twice. They were down 1-0. They make it 1-1. They were 2-1 down. And in the end, we had the 2-2 at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. And the title race now is in flames. And there are reports in Italy now this week, Edu, that Patrick Vieira won't continue at Genoa next season. Some were saying that he could be a replacement for Claudio Ranieri. I don't see that. And yeah, it's true. We need to acknowledge, and we have done in this show, that Patrick Vieira, especially the first 3 months at the Luigi Ferraris, he did very, very well. There was a point during the season, around January, February, when we were talking of Genoa trying to compete for a 10th finish this season. In the last 2 months, they had like high and lows. Of course, the 2-2 against Napoli is one of those highs so far for Patrick Vieira in the last weeks. But as you said, they're not playing for anything at the moment. Atalanta in their own right as well, because they have already qualified for the Champions League. It's extraordinary, Edu. This is gonna be their 5th time playing Champions League in the last 7 seasons. So to be honest, hats off for Gian Piero Gasperini. He's contracted until 2026. But there are like mixed signals whether he's gonna stay even for next season, or if he's gonna stay after 2026 season finishes. We're gonna have to see, because this project depends a lot, I will say, on Gasperini. It's true they're gonna be losing likely Edu Retegui. They're gonna be losing probably Lookman. They may lose also Emerson. But Gasperini and Atalanta have been very smart when it comes to recruitment. So even if they have to lose the Golden Boot, even if they have to lose the player who gave them the Europa League last season, for sure they're gonna find something new. Actually, Suleimana, the one who scored the winning goal against Roma, he deserved more minutes for sure for next season. So he's someone to look at. The odds on Atalanta to win, even though again they're not playing for much because they already qualified to the Champions League, are good at 1.74, and I'm taking that route, Edu. Atalanta to win.
Well, now let's talk about the games with a lot of things on stake. Let's start at the Olimpico. Roma, Milan coming back to the Olimpico only 4 days later of the Coppa Italia Final. Let's see if with the trophy and the Europa League qualification in the pocket, if so, it's good to back Roma, I guess, because Roma, they are playing still for the Champions League spots, 1 point below Juventus and Lazio. They miss a great opportunity, Leo, losing in Bergamo. The previous defeat was the 16th of December with Como. So this great streak came to an end from Ranieri's men.
Yes, 19 games unbeaten run came to an end with that defeat in Bergamo with Atalanta. I wouldn't say that Roma played a bad game. Actually, they had chances to score the second one. Ranieri was very upset with the VAR because with the game 1-1, Roma was awarded a penalty for a foul on 𝐿𝐭𝐴, and then the VAR reverted the referee's decision. There was a chance for Roma, yes, to leapfrog Juventus in 4th, but they failed to capitalize in the end on Lazio's and Juventus dropping points on Saturday. They are now 6, 1 point behind Lazio and Juve. But to be honest, I'm still believing that Roma can do something going into the last weekend, but for that they need to win. This is a must win for Roma against Milan. We're gonna see which Milan they're gonna be facing. It's gonna be a Milan in celebratory mood. Because if Milan wins, they're already gonna be playing in Europe for sure, Europa League. And yes, there is a slightly chance that if Milan wins at the Olimpico against Roma, they could still be looking for the miracle to qualify for the Champions League, but that's going to be very difficult. It depends on many results. So I believe if Milan, as I said before with the preview of the Coppa Italia Final, they win the trophy, this could be good news for Roma, to be honest. Edu, win or nothing for Roma. As I said, 3 points for Milan could mean Conference League spot, at least if they don't do well against Bologna in the Coppa Italia final. My take here, Edu, I expect goals over 2.5, 1.80.
All right, Ranieri with, saying goodbye probably to the Olimpico, with a lot of similarities with the new Pope. Indeed, he's master and commander in Rome. Cheers to him, as we always say in this show. We are big fans of Claudio Ranieri. Another of his teams, Cagliari, playing at home against Venezia. Cagliari is still not safe. 5 points above relegation, almost there, but still they need a point. They lost to Como, so it's 4 defeats in the last 5 games. And be careful, because they are finishing the season in Napoli. So if they lose here, they could be in danger. Venezia right now, Leo, outside the relegation spots after beating Fiorentina. Is only 1 defeat in the last 6 games. Unfortunately for them, they play Juventus in the final day.
Exactly. But there was a massive win for Venezia, Edu, against Fiorentina on Monday night. It was a huge survival boost for them. The cards were clear before the kickoff. 3 points for the Lagunari, and they will be out of the relegation zone. Win for La Viola, and 4th spot will be 2 points away. Everything was left for the second half, Edu. We had crazy 15 minutes with Venezia going ahead. And then I don't know if you have seen it, but it seemed that Fiorentina was about to get the equalizer with Luca Ranieri. His shot hit the post, and in the counter from that rebound, in the end, Oristiano scored the provisional 2-0. Oristiano couldn't have asked for a bigger moment to break his goal drought. The last time he scored he scored before Monday, that was back in December. The one having a great match as well for Venezia was 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝗀, the winger or second striker who uses the number 10. Anytime Venezia was carrying a threat in attack, he was involved, and I don't think he will stay with the Lagunari next season, regardless if they stay in Serie A or not. For Venezia, it's 3 points or almost the relegation, because, as you said, final match day is against Juventus in Turin, so they must win in Sardinia and wait. Cagliari, they're almost fine. I don't know, 5 points above Lecce and Empoli with 6 to play. So I think a draw could be or should be enough for them, especially when the goal difference they have with Empoli and Lecce is big for Cagliari. Looking at the odds, bookies are pointing to the direction of a draw. Cagliari, as you said, lost 5 of the last 6. With Como, they could not hold the lead. Strefezza scoring before halftime, I think, was crucial in that game. I believe Venezia will take a similar approach as with La Viola, of playing a cagey first half to unlock their guns for the second half. That's why my take here is first half draw in this Cagliari Venezia 2.2.
Next one is Fiorentina Bologna. This one for Europe. Fiorentina with really slim chances to qualify for Europe next season, after losing to Betis in the conference, after losing to Venezia, as you mentioned. Bologna, let's see what happens in the Coppa Italia final. But they still have options for playing European football and even the Champions League. Leo, they are 2 points away only from Juventus, despite they are winless in the last 3 Serie A games.
Yeah, absolutely, Edu. A lot's gonna depend of what happened with Bologna against Milan in the final of the Coppa Italia. For Fiorentina, the defeat with the Lagunari, Edu, means that the season is over. I can't see them even getting a Conference League spot. They are 4 points behind Roma, who is already using that 6th spot for the Conference League. I don't know if it was that they underestimated Venezia or what, but they were very poor, Edu, very, very poor. And for Palladino was the reckoning that next season he won't be Fiorentina's manager, I believe. By now, the defeat with Betis in extra time, the draw, because that meant a defeat for them. It hurt them more, for sure, because at least they would have a final to look forward. Palladino arguing about the VAR after the final whistle was like someone like shouting to the clouds. I'm not saying that La Viola did not have a good season. Actually, they were better than I thought, to be honest, at the beginning of the season, around August. But the inconsistency they have in this type of games was very costly for them. Look, let's remember, this is a team that in the end of March defeated Juventus, defeated Atalanta, and drew with Milan in San Siro. But then they could not take 3 points at home with Parma. Now they defeat with Venezia, or in February they lost at home with Verona and also with 𝐿𝐭𝐵𝐻. It has been clear for Fiorentina this season that without 𝗲𝐿𝐾𝐿, there is no paradise in front of the opposition goal, because he did not play on Monday night because of a tight injury. Lucas Beltran replaced him, and Lucas Beltran will never be someone who you could trust to lead the attack of a team like La Viola. He works hard, yes. He press, yes. But he has no knack for goals, to be honest. And then for Bologna, the motivation will depend on what happened with Milan, because at least by winning the Coppa Italia, they're going to be guaranteed Europa League season for them. It's going to be difficult to reach Champions League football through the Serie A in the last two games for them. But again, as well, they're having a great season, and that should not be overlooked. This could be heading to a draw, to be honest, Edu, but my take here is goals under 2.5, 1.72.
And one of the key games of the weekend, Inter-Lazio. What a game. This one, Inter still in the title race. Amazing week for them, qualifying for the Champions League final and beating Torino with all the substitutes. So, and also seeing Napoli dropping points. So only 1 point behind Napoli. They are playing Como in the last match day. But this one should be a difficult game, Leo, with Lazio also playing for the Champions League. They drew with Juventus. Vecino scored in the very last minute. So again, level on points with Juventus, playing Lecce in the final day, still fighting for the Champions League spots, Lazio.
Yes, and Juventus was very important, that goal from Mattias Vecino, 6 minutes on added time. They thought they were going to be awarded the penalty in the 87th minute, but in the end the VAR as well overturned that decision. Tati Castellano had a chance 2 minutes on added time, and in the end was 𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗀 providing the cross for Mattias Vecino to score and to celebrate for Lazio at that point against Juventus. This should be a very good game, or a huge game this weekend, Edu, in Serie A. Inter have done the job against Torino after the Champions League celebration. There was heavy rotation, 9 players or 9 changes compared to the starting 11 against Barcelona for Simone Inzaghi, but it was a rotation that really paid off. Zalewski scored his first goal as an Interista and couldn't have been more important. The Champions League final is on the 31st of May. Now Inzaghi is having a week to work and to rest his players, and we will see for sure, I believe at least, Edu, that they're going to play the strongest possible team in San Siro. But of course, yes, Lazio is having huge things to play for themselves. Probably, or maybe Lautaro Martinez won't start, because even though he's going to be having he's having a week to rest, I think he played both semi-final legs under a huge pain. He talked about being crying days before the second leg. So maybe they're gonna resting him again, or maybe he's gonna come into the second half of the game. Lazio won't have Mattia Zaccagni. He reached his 10th booking of the season. He's missing this game through suspension, and is one of the last chances as well for Lazio. And my take here, anyway, I will trust always Inter in this kind of situation, is win for Inter, although they're going to be listening of what's going on with Napoli. But my take here, Inter to win 1.67.
Great game. This one, and for the Champions League fight, we have Juve. Udinese is on Juventus' hands after the draw at the Olimpico. They have to beat Udinese, and they have to secure the spot in the final day with Venezia. So it should be done, Leo. Udinese have nothing to play for. They even lost to Monza. So this should be almost like a safe bet, Juventus to win.
It's in their own hands, absolutely. Udinese and Venezia, both in Turin, both at home. It should be, they are not playing away because they couldn't. I mean, so far under Tudor, they haven't won a single game away from home. They couldn't do it against Lazio, as we just said before when we recap Inter Lazio. They were down to 10 men. It's a handicap, or was a handicap for them after Kalulu saw a red card with 30 minutes to play, and they were 1-0 up on the time. More and more the impression is that Tudor won't be at the club's World Cup and his job will be done on Matchday 38. But Juventus is holding their destiny in their own hands. Even when you go to the points per game, we will see that Tudor have not filled all the gaps left by Motta. Actually, the average points per game is still better with Thiago Motta than with Igor Tudor. They drop points against direct rivals with Tudor, Roma, Bologna, and Lazio, all in games in which they took the lead in those 3 games, and in the end they drop 2 points in each of those games. Everything is all that Juventus at the moment as well, because then you have Douglas Luiz doing a streaming after Juventus drawing 1-1 with Lazio, where he was saying that he was missing Aston Villa, but then he posted a message saying that he was just being nostalgic, but he at no point he suggested he wanted to go back to Birmingham. Anyway, everything very weird, but still Juventus should win this game. My take is Juventus to win plus goals over 1.5. These two together, 1.90.
Indeed, Juventus should qualify for Champions League football next season. Lecce Torino is the next one. This one important for the relegation. Lecce in the bottom 3 right now, 1 point less than Venezia. They drew with Verona. This was not enough. And they are winless in 13 games. Leo, 1-3. Their final game is with Lazio, as we said before. So this is a must win for them, since Torino are playing for nothing.
Absolutely. So, but Torino is a team that, yes, they need the season to finish as soon as possible. They offer nothing against Inter at home. They won 1 of their last 7 match days, and away from home, Torino, they lost their last 2 matches. Now traveling to Via del Mare in a moment when Lecce is playing for survival. Yes, they are winless, as you mentioned, in the last 13 matches, but speculating with Venezia's fixture, which it should be, in Lecce's hands at least, because we mentioned again, Venezia is going to visit in the last match day, is going to visit Turin. Empoli is playing Monza away this weekend, which means there is a chance they could surpass both Lecce and Venezia. That is why this is a must-win for Lecce, because of Empoli's fixture against Monza away. They went ahead with Verona, a goal from 𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐿. He has scored 11 of the 25 goals Lecce's this season, 11 out of 25, all from 𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐿. The second half with the 1-1 on the board, Lecce was a very nervous team. Actually, they seem okay with the draw. Yes, they had a massive chance to win it at the very end with Banda, but they seem content with the draw. But this one is a must-win for Lecce. At home, they lost anyway 5 of their last 6. That's why, even though Torino is not playing for much, my take here, Edu, Torino Asian handicap +1, 1.56.
And one of the other game of the weekend is Parma Napoli at the Ennio Tardini. Parma still not safe, almost, but not mathematically safe. Only 4 points above relegation. They lost to Empoli and Como, so they are still in danger, and they are playing Atalanta in the final day. So, of course, they are going to put everything on the pitch, but this one is a matter of life for Napoli after drawing with Genoa. They cannot drop points. Leo, the final game is with Cagliari at home, so a lot of pressure for Napoli's men in this game.
That's the key thing, the pressure, Edu. And look, Conte said that with Genoa was the bonus game. Napoli needed 7 points from the last 9 to lift the Scudetto, we said last week, and they have already gave away the 2 points they were able to afford. It was a very unusual sight to see Napoli throwing a lead away 2 times. They are a very strong team in the air, in attack and in defense, but considered their 2 goals, their first 2-headed goals of the season against Genoa. There is, of course, now the psychological factor. They have Inter breathing in their necks again. So we will see how the pressure could impact the team. This said, they should have won the game against Genoa, Edu. They have created enough. They had 22 shots on goal, 11 of them on target. They were a bit unlucky with the first equalizer, with the ball hitting the woodwork and then 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐶 knee. Of course, there was some desperation in the final minutes with crosses after crosses. But I don't think that Napoli played a bad game against Genoa. Look, Conte introduced Philip Billing to make sure Napoli's aerial power was even stronger, and twice the ball went over the head of Philip Billing and Genoa scored. The downside as well is that last show we spoke of Lobotka not being 100% fit, of going injured against Lecce, and he lasted only 13 minutes against Genoa. So we're gonna see, likely he's not gonna play, and he's a very important player in midfield. The good point in between the disappointment is Lukaku scoring again after an assist from 𝐋𝐞𝐿, who collected the Player of the Month award before the game with Genoa. Parma lately at home, they have drawn with Inter, they won against Juventus, but even after the 2-2 with Genoa, what I have seen in this Napoli should be enough to take the 3 points, Edu, here. It's going to be a game for the supporters to have the radio in their ears, because depending on what happens with Inter Lazio, a point could be enough or not. We could have a scenario in which Inter is also winning at halftime and Napoli drawing. How is that going to impact Conte's team? But I still believe they can go all the way. My take here, Napoli to win and Napoli to score first. These two together, 1.90.
Or they could be crowned champions. They can celebrate the Scudetto at the New Tardini.
It could happen as well.
The best case scenario for Napoli. So everything can happen. What a Sunday we have in Italy.
I love it, Edu.
Sorry?
I love this carousel type. Everyone playing at the same time, apart from the Genoa Atalanta.
Me too. It's going to be a great evening this Sunday in Italy. Then we have Monza, Empoli. Monza, as we know, relegated, but finally they won a game, only the third win of the season against Udinese. This game is very important for Empoli. They are penultimate in the standings, but only 1 point away from Venezia after beating Parma with Anjorin scoring the winner. Leo, they are pretty much alive. The previous win was the 8th of December. The final game is with Verona, so they have two kind of easy fixtures. If they win both, they are gonna be safe, most likely.
Yes, it's incredible what is going on with Empoli. They're at this situation with the chances of survival after they spent like 20 games without a win. Monza was one of the surprises of last week, and yes, with their win away to Udinese, their only third of the season. The first one since January, thanks to a goal from 𝐿𝐴 on added time. But this game is all about Empoli. They produced a massive win, yes, against Parma. The first win since December. So that's the encounter we are having here. A team that won after 3 months against a team that won after 4 months. Empoli, of course, benefited of Parma being reduced to 10 men at the end of the first half, and was sweet for them to win it with 4 minutes before the end of the game. 2 goals for the English striker this season, but 2 goals that provided 4 points for Empoli, as he scored against Venezia for a 2-2 equalizer last month as well. Of course, apart from last weekend, all the stats home or away we could take before Sunday are dreadful, both ways, for Monza or for Empoli. But Empoli are the rightly favorites here. We will see if they can close the circle of a season, Edu, in which they started very strong. I remember talking with you August, September, beginning of October, when Empoli was doing well. They were entertaining to watch. We will see if they can finish as well the season in a high. They are home against Verona, as you explained, on match day 38. My take here, goals under 2.5, 1.75.
And the last game is Verona Como at the 𝗀𝗀𝗏𝗀. Verona is still in danger, 5 points away from relegation, so they need at least a draw. And they are playing, as we mentioned before, Empoli in the final day. Como, with nothing to play for, Leo, they keep winning and winning. 6 consecutive wins with the future of 𝐷𝗲 Fábregas still in the air, if I'm not mistaken, because there were even rumors of Davide Ancelotti arriving to Como, but it looks like he's going to train Glasgow Rangers. And I don't know what is going to happen with 𝐷𝗲 Fábregas.
You know, the problem, Edu, this week, and I agree with you, that is true, it's been a bit of mixed feelings or messages, because after the game, after the 6 consecutive win for Como, amazing again, every single week or show we are talking about how well Como is doing, likely to finish in 10th, although the last match day is against Inter, although at home. But after the game, Fábregas gave a strange interview, Edu, in which he appeared almost to say goodbye in a way, saying that whatever happens, he will always be grateful to the club, that he wants to leave an inheritance, as when whoever follows him will find a great club. Then came Xabi Alonso saying goodbye to 𝐬𝐭𝐵 and a speculation that Fábregas will replace him in the Bundesliga. But I hope that wherever the rumors with 𝐶ESC, to be honest, it does not overshadow his team great season. With Cagliari, it was the third time that Como scored 3 goals within this winning run of 6 consecutive wins. They are visiting a Verona side, which is the opposite, 7 matches winless with 3 defeats in that process. Verona is 5 points clear, the red zone, so they will see, I believe, a draw with good eyes for sure. But my take here in this Verona Como, both teams to score yes, odds of 2.23.
Great show, Leo. Great Sunday we have ahead of us in Serie A. 1 match day left next, the following Sunday, 25th of May. Guys, remember, of course, that you can post your tips in Oddspedia and participate in our tipster competitions, winning up to $1,000, or participate also in rivals and create your own tipster competitions. For instance, you can create a new one for Serie A for the following season, perhaps. Leo, let's go with your safe bet.
Verona Como, goals over 1.5, 1.34.
And the ACCA?
Atalanta to win, Fiorentina Bologna, goals under 2.5, Torino, Asian handicap +1. These 3 together, odds of 4.66.
All right, Leo Bachanian, thank you. Let's keep enjoying Serie A. Goodbye, guys.